Superintendent, the Central Berkshire School Committee, I'd like to welcome everyone to this historic event. We are honored and grateful to have been asked to host the announcement of the first recipients of Rural School Aid. I'd like to especially extend a warm welcome and thanks to those who have made this day possible and are here with us to celebrate this achievement. Welcome to Commissioner Riley, Senator Hines, State Representatives Mark and Kulik, and Superintendent and Chair of the Rural Schools Coalition, Mr. Michael Bonaconte. It is now my pleasure to introduce with gratitude for all of his work to establish Rural School Aid, Senator Adam Hines.
All right, thank you, Superintendent. This is an exciting day. It is really the culmination of a lot of work for a lot of people in this room. I have to say, I think it goes without saying, actually, that education feels like it's so critical to each one of us, each one of our families, each one of our communities, the Commonwealth itself, and yet we remain at risk of providing an unequal education opportunity throughout the Commonwealth based on key factors like your zip code and if you're in a rural area or not. And that's really been the motivation here. And a lot of the providers in the room, and we're grateful to have a number of teachers and parents and superintendents here. They were the ones who came forward and said, look, there is a dynamic here that is deeply concerning when we face enrollment decline as a result of population decline in certain pockets throughout the Commonwealth. And as a result, we've seen challenges related to local aid formula and transportation reimbursement in areas that go beyond that. And so really the last 2 years has been an effort to at least protect equal education throughout the state and chip away at those discrepancies that we've seen dominating the education conversation out here and in different geographical areas, and to continue to lay the groundwork for a more sustainable education funding model. So that's really been the start. The strategy was, we have our own assessments, we have our own experiences, but let's let the professionals do the work of really confirming that. And that's where we brought the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education into the picture. And so last budget cycle, we compelled DESE to look at the fiscal conditions of rural schools throughout the Commonwealth. And to the surprise of probably nobody, they confirmed that it's true. Student enrollment is going down in rural schools in the last 10 years while it's been flat throughout the Commonwealth. It's true that rural schools are spending more per pupil for their teachers and paraprofessionals as a result of that, and they're spending 50% more on transportation. And so, quite honestly, this report that DESE created laid out the facts on the ground and then also put forward a range of recommendations. And that included changes to local aid, and the Foundation Budget Review Commission is a big part of that. Regional transportation is a big part of that. But it also went into the discussion around sparsity aid. And that allowed us, quite frankly, to go into this fiscal year armed with facts and recommendations that were coming from the experts themselves. And so what happened this year was a range of us in the legislature, including those present tonight in the House, Steve Kulik and Paul Mark, and on the Senate side it was myself and Senator Goby and Senator Stan Rosenberg, who really were able to work with Superintendent Bonaconte, who, quite frankly, was the first person to come up to me when I first got sworn in 2 years ago and say, wait a second, there are ideas out there and there are ways to go about this regional discrepancy, and we should consider rural sparsity aid. And it was his model and his starting point that honestly used in the current line item that we're discussing today. So I can't talk about this issue without recognizing you, Superintendent, so thank you for your contribution and work in this area. We're going to hear from you in a minute. So the result of that effort was what we're here to announce today, which is a line item in the education budget, a brand new one dedicated exclusively to additional funding for rural schools. And we're going to hear from the Commissioner a little bit about that as well. So, at base, we do hope that this effort is just the starting point. We do hope that it's the starting point also for making sure we're keeping our foot on the pedal for other funding areas that include school transportation. I have to say that we recently, the Senate President announced that I'd be co-chair of a school transportation commission that is looking at how the state reimburses school costs throughout the Commonwealth, and that's a big piece of this puzzle as well. But certainly FDRC is going to be a big piece in the coming legislature. So, and we look forward to not only working with all of you here today, certainly with our legislative delegation and with DESE itself. So we have a lot of work ahead. So thanks again. And now I want to relay the mic to my colleague, Paul Mark, whose district we're in, and who has been a real champion for small towns and rural issues for a long, long time. So thanks, Paul, and it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Senator, and thank you everybody for being here to celebrate this great milestone. The Senator's too modest to admit. In the legislature, there's no individual success. Everything's a team effort, but on this occasion, by far, Senator Hines was our quarterback on this. Senator Hines did all the legwork. He filed this amendment on the Senate side in the budget, and it was his hard work that got this accomplished. And first and foremost, I'd like to give him a round of applause for that. I'm the only legislator in the entire state that lives in a town of less than 1,000 people. I have 8 school districts, 6 of which are very rural. And so we know here in Berkshire and Franklin counties, which are 2 of the poorest counties in the state, that every dollar we get matters. And in a rural school, our fixed costs are the same. They're just as high as anywhere else in the state. But the problem is our population is low, and the resources available to us are also low. And so this shot in the arm is a great start. It's a great start in the right direction. This combined with increases to regional school transportation, increases to Chapter 78, increases to everything we can get for this area is going to help in the long run. And so I couldn't be more happy again for Central Berkshire to be receiving the largest amount of money from this line item, and to commit right here for Senator Hines that he's going to fight to double it next year. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
We'll also be playing MC in there, it looks like. I want to recognize that we have 3 Democratic nominees for a state representative in the audience who all cover certain rural areas. And so we have Lindsay Saladosa, who came in from the Northampton area. I shouldn't start this precedent talking about your individual district because it gets really large in a minute here. Natalie Blay as well, covering Franklin, and Mindy Fromm in the Amherst area. So thank you all for being here as well. Representative Steve Kulik, who we are all very sad to see deciding to retire at the end of his term. And quite honestly, it was his position as Vice Chair of Ways and Means in the House that has provided a real critical role in a whole range of issues that we take on from Western Mass, and this issue included. So Steve Kulik, please.
Thank you very much, Senator. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really great to be part of this celebration, this announcement that I think what Paul Mark has said, I could just triple that in terms of the leadership that Adam Hines has given in only his first term as our state senator, providing this leadership, making sure it got through the Senate, working with me as we went into the Budget Conference Committee this year to make sure we could hang on to this. So I represent 19 towns in the first Franklin district, soon to be represented by Natalie Blay, who's here. It is the second largest number of communities in a House Rep district, and I have either in its entirety or in part 13 regional school districts. The entire district is rural, and many of them are going to benefit from this first allocation of funding under this RCA, this Rural School Aid Program. And some of them are just getting a little bit. Some of them are getting quite a bit, Gateway and Mohawk in particular. But some of the school districts are getting a few $1,000s. And I just want to say, if you're only getting a little bit, it's just the beginning, I believe. And I think it's an important precedent that's being established here that I think is going to grow. Because the hardest thing to do is to establish the reasoning, the justification behind a new legislative initiative. Now that's already been done. Now the work is to increase it, to expand it, to make it stronger, to respond to changing dynamics in our school districts. a lot to every school district that's getting something out of this. It's going to be really important. And I know my colleagues, Adam and Paul and others, and my new, they're not going to be my colleagues, but the new members who are coming into the delegation for Western Massachusetts who represent rural schools are going to carry that torch and make this program a real priority. And I want to thank not only Desi for their support and the commissioner, we look forward to hearing from him, but I want to thank Michael Armani, the superintendent of Mohawk. He's really the one who brought this idea to us. As he discovered, was it Wisconsin or what state was it? It has some Minnesota, excuse me. Wisconsin too. That they have a similar type of initiative out there to deal with schools that are sort of sparsely populated areas over large geographic regions and have particularly distinct and unique financial challenges. So thank you for bringing it to our attention. It's been great working with you, great working with my colleagues, and I look forward to sitting back and watching from afar, but seeing this program grow and respond to the needs that exist in rural school districts in the Commonwealth. And in not just Western Mass, some school districts out of the Cape are going to benefit from this as well. But I can't thank Adam enough and all of you for getting behind it and advocating for it, and we'll see great things I think in the future from it. So, and I will just mention also that this was, I'm one of the co-chairs, or 4 co-chairs of the Legislative Rural Caucus, 2 in the House, 2 in the Senate, and they're from all over the state. And education this session was one of our biggest priorities, and it probably will be once again in the new session in January, because it's what we hear from you. We see the challenges that exist every day in passing school budgets and making things balance out in rural school districts. So thank you for your work, and again, thank you to my colleagues who I know are going to carry this forward. Thanks.
So we just heard Superintendent Bonacani is the person who's spearheading all this, and I'm particularly proud to work with him because he's the superintendent of the high school that I graduated from, and so it's been a real wonderful to work with you. So Superintendent Bonacani.
So there's loads of credit to go around. A couple of years ago, a handful of superintendents of rural school districts got together at the Basketball Hall of Fame. We were meeting at that time to make a decision whether we were going to just continue to live with the situation as it was or whether we could do something about it. We had all come to understand that we were financially unsustainable, that we lacked economy of scale, that we were basically the opposite definition of economy of scale. And so we started to meet regularly and put ideas together. So well, I appreciate the recognition to me personally. There are several colleagues of mine that have been there at every single meeting, pushing hard, supporting, who I really, really appreciate. I think of Terry Thomas from Ralph C. Mahar, Michael Sullivan in particular from Gil Montague. But nevertheless, taking the idea and actually doing something with it is another thing. So I too want to really extend my thanks to Senator Hines in particular for being, he's the new guy on the block, just really looking for his parking space out there in Beacon Hill. But he really made things happen fast. And we're very, very grateful to that. Thank you so much. And to the rest of you gentlemen, and Steve, for all the service that you've done over the years. I know we're going to be doing a little going away party for you pretty soon, but Steve Kulik, if you get a chance to shake his hand and thank him, he's one of the good guys that really worked hard for the citizens of Massachusetts for a long, long time. So I'm glad that this represents the beginning of the voice for rural school districts in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is the most urban/suburban state in the U.S. of A, other than the District of Columbia, which is not a state. So just getting voice has been a real challenge, and I think that this aid, more than anything else, represents that. And I'm also grateful for Commissioner Riley, Jeff Riley, who's sitting off here to my side, and we'll introduce him in just a minute, who's new to his job but has been listening intently, and clearly wants to do the right thing by all kids. So I feel like there's an opportunity here for us to actually structurally fix the rural problem that's been going on now for some 20 years or so. And I really look forward to partnering with our legislators, the Department of Education, my colleagues, and those of you in the audience to really solve this problem and put our kids in position to have a quality education in rural areas. And just to let you know what this means for Mohawk. So for Mohawk, we're spending almost all of this money on buying Chromebooks for our students in grades 7 through 12, which is a game changer for our kids. It's a game changer for how instruction is going to be delivered, or for our students' understanding our digital literacy. It's just a profound difference for our kids, and I'm very, very grateful. I really thank you again so much. So I would like to take a minute now to introduce Commissioner Jeff Riley. If you are looking for a recommendation in the north end of Boston, Jeff's a good guy to talk to. He recommends Al Dente. So he comes from a largely urban area. He was a superintendent from Lawrence prior to that, and a longtime educator taking care of kids. So he knows what it is to serve students. And he seems like he's going to be a real partner in Malden. And I think that we're all grateful for that. And thanks so much for coming out this way, Jeff. I think I'm going to take you on a tour at some point. Yeah, so Bob, we'll take him up on that. Welcome, thank you.
For the next 2 hours, I'd like to review the rules and regulations of the department. Sorry, little joke. Good afternoon, everyone. This is actually my second time at Waconia. I was here about 4 or 5 months ago, I believe, for a senior pre-graduation speech that I was able to give. In my short tenure as commissioner, I've tried to spend a lot of time out in the West to make sure that folks realize that the state of education is the entire state. There's been some thinking back in the day that the state only cared about kind of inside the 495 Beltway, and I wanted to disabuse people of that notion. In fact, I got to go to North Adams about a week and a half ago and teach for the day, which was exciting and fun, and I look forward to spending more time out here. I guess what I wanted to come to say today is I have 2 children that attend the Boston Public Schools, so I come at this first and foremost as a parent. My son is 15 years old. He's a typically performing student. In some ways, he's too smart for his own good, although he spends a lot of his time playing Fortnite. And then I have a daughter who has some pretty significant special needs. And my 2 kids, they live under the same roof, but they need very different things. And they need different resources. And when I think about that as an educator, what I've realized is for a long time in education, we've kind of doled out resources in a one-size-fits-all model. Massachusetts is very proud of itself for being #1 in the country on various test scores and metrics. And that's a great thing. But we also, when we look deeper at the information, what we see is we truly are only #1 for some. The kids living in poverty, kids with special needs like my daughter, second language learners, and even kids living out in rural areas aren't being given the same opportunities that kids are in other places. And it's incumbent on us to fix that. I think today with the rural aid announcement is just one way to begin the process of addressing issues. When I think of the western part of the state, everyone has strengths, and there are tremendous strengths out here, but everyone also has challenges. And when I think about the declining enrollment, that's an issue. When I think about broadband and internet, that's an issue. And we want to kind of work on these things and help the different areas of the state that need help, whatever they need help with. Today is just the beginning, I think, of an announcement to try to be more targeted in our support. I guess you're all free to go. We want to be more targeted in our support. While we do the longer term work of fixing the Chapter 70 formula. Some of you may know there was a Foundation Budget Review Commission that probably 4 or 5 years ago came out publicly after studying the formula that was put in place 20 years ago and said the formula is not broken, fairly significantly. And where I was a superintendent, they were estimating that we were being shorted somewhere between $6 and $10 million a year. And that's not okay. We've got to figure out a way to fix that. And I hope the folks on Beacon Hill are going to get that fixed this time around, and I believe it's going to happen. Because we need to make sure that all of our kids have what they need. And we need to recognize that not all kids are the same. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to just really recognize the folks, the elected officials that have been working tirelessly on your behalf, right? And we listen to that. And they have made their advocacy plain and clear that we have to do better by the western part of the state. And I hope today is the first step to doing that. So thank you all very much.
Great, that's the formal program for today. The folks who are up here are available for the press who are in the room that want to ask any detailed questions, and I'm sure everyone in the grandstand is available as well. Right? I'll just conclude with this thought, which is really this is something that is precedent setting, as Representative Kulik pointed out, that we have really in every formula that we confront in the state, in every portion of the budget, we recognize this difference between in different parts of the state and how they're treated. And so this is a precedent for how we do this in education, and it's a precedent in how we achieve this in other areas of the budget as well. So thank you all for being a part of it. Thank you all for recognizing its importance, and get home safely. Thanks.